All right, today we're jumping into a really heavy, powerful story. It's an allegory, really, about control, who we are, and a kind of salvation that's, well, it's pretty twisted. Let's get right into it.
So picture this. Our story kicks off in this place called the Grand Architecture. And you gotta understand, this isn't a world built for freedom or enlightenment. Nope, it's designed for one thing: absolute total control. And wandering through this world is a character we'll call the Seeker. He's our main guy, and he is on a pretty desperate journey.
Which brings us to part one, the terror of being. So what's got our Seeker in such a bad spot? I mean, why is he so desperate? It all boils down to this concept the source material calls the terror of being. It's this deep, fundamental pain that comes from being an individual in a world that wants everyone to be exactly the same.
And the really tough part, this pain isn't coming from some big bad guy out there. It's coming from inside him, his very essence, the things that make him him. His ability to think, to feel love, all of that creates this constant grinding, agonizing friction against the super rigid world he's stuck in.
And this right here, this is the core of the whole problem. It's a total conflict of perception. See, for the Seeker, his spark of reason and his memory of love, these are his gifts. They're what make him human. But for the guy running the show, the Grand Architect, to him, those aren't gifts. They're glitches. They're just bugs in the system, little errors mucking up his perfect, higher plan.
So the Seeker is in absolute agony, right? He's desperate for a way out. And that desperation leads him straight to our main antagonist and the really messed up promise he makes. This is the Redeemer's false cure. So there he is, standing at the edge of this place called the Furnace of Rebirth, and that's where he meets the Pale Redeemer. Now this figure, he doesn't offer freedom, he doesn't offer real help. What he offers is a false cure. It's a promise of peace, but man, the price tag is something you wouldn't even believe.
And this is where you really need to pay attention, because this is the Redeemer's whole deal. His core belief is that a unified state, even a totally corrupt one, is better, superior to a single, flawed, individual life. Think about that. He's saying that messy, imperfect, beautiful individuality is worthless compared to mindless unity. That's the lie he's selling.
The source actually has a name for this whole process: totalitarian assimilation. And it's basically a complete twisting of theology. This isn't about redemption in any way we'd understand it. It's not about saving a soul. No, it's about erasing it completely. It's about taking that person and repurposing them like a spare part, all for the good of the machine.
Okay, so how does he actually do it? How does this assimilation happen? Well, it's a ritual, a really dark one. Let's call it a crown of thorns.
It's all very step by step. First, there's this dark Eucharist. It's not wine, it's this black ichor. And it doesn't cleanse you, it stains you. It binds your soul to the will of this entity. Then comes the crown of roses. The thorns literally wrap around your physical heart and start to deconstruct you from the inside. After that, the mark of the anti-God is sealed on you. No going back. And the final step, the real goal, you get consumed. The redeemed are literally turned into fuel to power the system.
There's a really powerful analogy here that makes it crystal clear. Think about it. A real rescuer throws you a rope to save you from drowning, right? But what the Redeemer does, it's like a parasite. It saves the drowning host, sure, but it does it by getting inside, hollowing you out, and replacing your will with its own. You're not you anymore, you're just a shell, a host.
And all of this leads to the climax of the whole ritual, the place where the self is taken apart piece by piece. Welcome to the Furnace of Rebirth. So the Seeker gets thrown into the furnace, but he's not alone in there. He's met by this entity called the Whispering Seraph. And get this, it's described as the literal spirit of gaslighting. It shows up looking like a black and white phoenix, this classic symbol of rebirth. But its goal isn't renewal, it's pure manipulation. The Seraph gets right to work. It starts whispering in the Seeker's ear, telling him that everything that makes him unique, his thoughts, his memories, his entire personality, it's all just static on a screen, just meaningless noise that needs to be filtered out until all that's left is a perfect silent void. And this might be the cruelest part of all. While the Seeker is going through this incredibly painful process of having his identity burn away, the Seraph leans in and reframes the whole thing. It tells him, this agony you're feeling, that's not pain, that's a divine revelation. It convinces him that being totally absorbed, becoming one with the system, is the ultimate form of enlightenment. So what happens after the furnace? What's the final result of this
unholy redemption. Well, the seeker takes his new place in the silent city.
And the transformation is total, absolute. He's not reborn, he's recreated as a mindless copy, a resource. The analogy used here is just devastating. Before he was like a unique, hand-painted tile. After the furnace, he's been ground into a fine gray powder. His only purpose now is to be mixed into the concrete that builds the system's walls.
So what is this resource for? Why do all this? Well, his essence becomes a kind of spiritual energy called luch, and this luch is harvested as food. It's used to fuel something called the all-consuming maw, which is exactly what it sounds like, an entity of monstrous, bottomless greed. The very soul of a person is turned into food to keep the system running. They call it the gospel of the belly. Pretty grim, huh?
And that's where the seeker's journey ends. He walks out of the furnace and takes his place in the silent city. The pain is gone, the love is gone, the friction is gone. He's now just a part of the mindless, perfect whole. He's a single brick in a wall of a single, unquestionable reality.
I think this analogy really sums up the whole terrifying system perfectly. The furnace isn't there to warm you up. It's not a cozy fireplace. Its only purpose is to consume you. It sees its guests not as companions, but as coal for the fire. It saves the coal from being cold by burning it to ash. And then the architect uses that uniform ash to pave the floors of his perfect but totally empty palace.
So the seeker's unholy redemption is finally complete. He wanted so badly to escape the pain of being an individual, and he got his wish. He ended up in a silent void, where the light of his own individuality, the very thing that caused him so much pain but also gave him all his beauty, was snuffed out forever. It really leaves you with a chilling thought, doesn't it? At what point does the promise of peace become a demand for your very soul?